Good morning, His Excellency Andris Razans, Ambassador of the Republic of Latvia to Egypt. Good morning, His Excellency Ahmed Adel Sobhi, Ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to the Kingdom of Sweden and Latvia. Good morning, our dear guests, speakers, partners, LCCI members, and entrepreneurs. My name is Natalia Yushkova. I'm representing Latvian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and today I will be also the moderator of this event. It is a pleasure to see you all here during the webinar, Egypt, New Business Horizons and Growth Potential, which is organized in cooperation with Embassy of Latvia in Egypt. And as you know, Egypt is the largest trade partner in North Africa. Today we will have 6 speakers who will provide the latest information on opportunities between Egypt and Latvia, and reflecting the key aspects of doing business in Egypt and educating us about business culture. Dear webinar participants, you have the opportunity to ask questions to the speakers by typing in the Zoom chat, and the speakers will provide immediate answers following their presentations. And I also want to mention that this webinar would be recorded and also later will be provided on YouTube, and will be really valuable material for promoting Latvian and Egypt cooperation. I'm pleased to introduce our first speaker, His Excellency Andris Razans, Ambassador of the Republic of Latvia to Egypt. He began his role on December 17 in 2023, and the Latvian Embassy in Egypt has been in operation since 2007. You are welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody, and I'm very glad for this opportunity to open the webinar. Karen, I hope you hear me well. With communication, when you are in a distance, they might fail, but I hope it will not be the case today. I'm very honored for this chance to open this webinar, and I should say that I think it's a very timely event what we are holding today. And during our conversation and discussion and exchange of ideas, I believe that all of you will share this point of view. And I'm thankful to the Latvian Chamber of Commerce and Industry for cooperation and putting this discussion together. My deepest gratitude goes to my very dear colleague in Stockholm, Ambassador of Egypt to Latvia, who as well is here. And I think we have
Thank you, dear Ambassador.
Very good and efficient team. And I hope that all party, I hope, able to answer in the best possible way. I would like to say that of course, Latvia and Egypt are countries in a bit distance, geographical, physical distance. We come from different parts of the globe, but I should at the same time say that this distance not necessarily tells immediately that we are very different, or sure, there are differences and profound differences, but I would like to start by just mentioning few similarities, what I consider important for our two countries and as well businesses working in our two countries. First similarity is our history. Well, we originated as Latvia's independent state after the First World War, and basically I know that diplomats and people of both countries, Latvia and Egypt, have been working very hard during that time Paris Peace Conference to get independence. We succeeded a little bit earlier. Egypt succeeded a little bit later, but our countries, as they are known today, of course, they originated from the quite similar events in the world, and that's one of the similarities. we know what does it mean to have a difficult neighbors. You know what does it mean to have difficult neighbors, and that as well, I think, constitutes the similarities in way how we think about our regions. Uh, the next similarity, I think, what I would like to stress is recent experience of profound economic reforms. Latvia went through that during the 90s when we regained our independence, and we had to reconnect with the world, basically, starting from almost ground zero level. And just a little bit more than 10 years ago, we as well had been under IMF program, so we know what does it mean, and the positive aspects and sometimes as well negative aspects of of this program. That is a very rare, I think, experience in Europe. If we speak about European countries, if we speak about countries of European Union, certainly that kind of similarity as well contributes to better understand as well realities here in Egypt. And then I would like to say that certainly we have uh, opportunities for economic interaction today, and you will speak in a second more in detail about those. But the each and every economic opportunities, it's based on what's happening in the world in many ways, what's happening, and it's certainly it's been based on uh, big strategic changes. Last 4, 5, 6 years have been really rich with these very unexpected shifts, starting with COVID, and all of us experienced that period of a very negative period in our lives. We would love to see that. That probably that's something we would better avoid, but COVID was a bit very shocking experience for humans, but as well for companies, for businesses, for trade routes. Globally, climate change is not going to disappear. We'll be facing that kind of change, global change together. That's unavoidable. So we have to adapt, we have to adjust, and the best possible way how to do that is together with our partners. Uh, well, geopolitical shifts, conflicts, one in our region and several in your region. That as well is something that contributes to opportunities and the way how certainly businesses view these opportunities. And these are the things we have to always keep in mind and have to understand. And I encourage as well businesses to follow these developments and take them into account. Uh, then I would like to say that Latvia as well has gone through these uh, turbulences, COVID, and as well geopolitical shift in Europe. There is a war raging, not that far away from our borders. But taking all that into account, I should say that Latvia has relatively efficiently dealt with these shocks, external shocks, and our economic situation. It's not perfect, but it's good. And all in all, I think it what it's the wide. So I think we can really thank our very open and very diverse structure of our economy. So that definitely has helped our businesses to navigate during these very difficult changes of their what they experience in and that affects their way they act. Latvian economy is small, but it's open and it's more and more knowledge-based, intensive. Call it deep tech or use any other description of our economy. And Latvia is part of Eurozone. Latvia is part of bigger European market. So it's, I think, these are the very positive and good shock they later helped us to absorb these shocks, external shocks, and economy is doing good in given circumstances, and I think that's important to mention. Uh, I would like to touch the issue of a little bit where I see opportunities that are there, that it makes an impact on economic planning of companies, and why probably from my point of view it's important to pay attention to this region, and why do I encourage Latvian companies to do that? I think Egypt. I mentioned at the beginning, yes, it's geographically a relatively distant country. On the other hand, it's a very close country. Egypt is connected to Europe, to EU and Eurozone just by the Mediterranean Sea. And this proximity to Eurozone, uh, I think, might be very beneficial to Latvian companies. Egypt has unique geographical location. Yes, country that borders with Europe, but as well as opening to Africa, very profound geographical location, and as well a country within Middle East region. So it's, I think that's very beneficial geographical location for businesses that would like to expand and see opportunities in globally. Egypt is a very good partner and a stable partner. It's source of stability in this region. Keep that in mind always. And what is especially, I think, important for Latvian companies based on the structure of Latvian economy, Egypt is the Middle East brain bank. You can find lots of young, talented, well-educated people that might be very good opportunity to develop the partnership with companies, with universities. So that's something what certainly our embassy is aiming to promote and strengthen in all possible ways. And the last point what I would like to mention is that just recently, maybe you have seen that and read that European Union as well had upgraded the relationship, strategic relationship with Egypt, and that looks very promising. Later this month, Egypt will be hosting Egypt EU Investment Forum, and I understand and I know that the Chamber of Commerce and Industries of Latvia already has shown a great interest to participate. So I understand that people will be coming from Latvia. Yesterday we had very good conversation among EU ambassadors here with colleagues from Egyptian Foreign Ministry. I understand that the forum is well on the way to be carried out, and from my side, I just encourage Latvian companies to use this opportunity to come and participate. That might be a good way how to use your time, and if you think about this region strategically. And just to conclude my opening remark here, I really wish you a very good discussion today. embassy is ready to contribute with our thoughts. Always keep in mind that in Cairo, both Latvian businesses, but as well Egyptian businesses, find very good partner in form of Latvian embassy, and we'll be always glad to meet you, talk to you, and support your ideas in meaningful way. Here I will stop, and I wish really all of us very good conversation today. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your presentation. And the next speaker is Mr. Mohamed Zaki El Savadi, Chairman of the Federation of Egyptian Industries, which is one of the Egyptian largest employees association with 19 active industrial chambers as a members and representing over 104,000 enterprises. And as Mr. Mohamed needs to leave earlier, that's why we are unable to follow protocol this time, and that's why this order of our speakers. Mr. Mohamed, you're welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm sorry that I'm,
it's okay.
Dear colleagues and your accents. Can you hear me well now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I would like to welcome all the participants. I'm so sorry, of course, that I'm talking from the car, but we're already having another conference in the new capital. It's with medicine manufacturers, so that's why I'm on the way there. Thank you, Your Excellency, and thanks for all the friends at the Latvian embassy here and colleagues. Yeah, let me just give a small brief after His Excellency has explained what's the size of Egypt. In Egypt, we're almost 410 million people living in Egypt, and we enjoy spending money. So we're not people that are after saving money. So, I mean, you find consuming a lot, lots of projects, new cities are already on the way, agriculture business is booming, any kind of product that you can ever believe will still have to double the size that we're already having in Egypt. Not only for the Egyptian consumers, not only for Egyptian economy, but because also Egypt has lots of international relations and agreements. Because from here, if you have a joint venture here in Egypt and you need to export even to Europe, it's zero customs. To the Arab world, it's zero customs. To most of the African countries, it's zero customs. So from here, you have lots and lots of new markets that you can penetrate. Size of banks here are already sizable enough that they can accommodate all this kind of business. We're having opportunities in education, in healthcare, in technology. All this is under development, and there are very special agreements and very special laws and benefits that any investor can use. Plus, of course, the new hydrogen projects. It's already one of the booming sectors in Egypt. And because already Europe is start now to implement the carbon credit on the Egyptian products. So we are obliged that we have to follow all these environmental deals. So this is also another part. So I mean, the size of business is still in the pipeline, size of projects, opportunities, all that is more than double that we still need. Let me just explain some history about foreign companies here. I mean, if you ask your colleagues of the foreign investors here in Egypt, the profit margin that they're making here in the country, even by all the bad moments that we've seen, even as economical, as COVID, as Russian-Ukrainian war, as the region also is still some more around us, the effect is very minimal, and the profit margins that they're making here, because of the size of the market and the size of the expertise they make, is more maybe than they're doing already in their own companies. One of the things also that the Egyptian people and economy and we as a federation are doing, business has nothing to do with politics. I mean, the political relations, yes, it's good to empower business, but with any country, if we have any political disagreements, business has nothing to do with it. We look on the business as a factory, as an investment on the Egyptian land. We don't care who owns it. So any political deal or all that, it doesn't affect. And this is one of the proofs. It shows, for example, we had very bad time with the Turkish political issue, but the Turkish business has been booming in the last years, and it's already booming, and that shows how even after the relation now is very good. So it's not affected. We always keep the investor safe. He has nothing to do with the region, and we always, I think if you can, the government is giving lots of support for any companies who are investing in technical education, as school, as institutes, as all that. So the field of joint venture or starting your own business or using certain technology, all that is huge. The field is opened. The market is still, I call it, yes, we're an old country, but the market is still green in this area and this field. Best thing, as His Excellency has said, you have to come to Egypt to see what we're talking about. I'm not saying Egypt is the most organized country. No, we're not. We still have to do a lot of being well organized, well prepared for everything. But still, with all these, business is running, business is doable. I fully assure of what His Excellency has said, that you come to the conference. When you come here, we can organize special trips to any field that you would like to meet. We can do the B2B. We can take you to the new big projects, as the new capital that I'm going to right now. We have a new project, for example, on the way, has already been signed and paid with the Emirates on the north coast. It's I think it's 30 million square meters. It's going to be sort of a small city on the north coast. So business is booming in all fields. We are doing agriculture projects. New 1.5 million acres are on the way, and we are looking for partnership, how to make use of that and how to make the best use out of this land. The mining sector in Egypt, it's still a virgin sector. We have lots of good projects. I'm not professional in that. My profession is mining, as when I see my colleagues and my friends, it's a very booming. The country is after or to start this business here. Incentives can be taken, can be given. It depends on the area. For example, if you look on the economic zone of the Suez Canal, which I'm a board member there, it's it's a growing part. By the way, the size of the economic zone of the Suez Canal is the size of Belgium. So that you can imagine what's the size of this economic zone that we're promoting for foreign companies to invest in. And this, by the way, this area is hosting most of the green energy and the green technology that's has been approved last couple of years in Egypt. I would like that we meet you during the Euro-Egyptian economic meeting. This will give you the chance to meet more people in the sector, to hear about what's going on, and to see the country, to see what you're talking about, what's the system, how it's going, to just put your imagination in that. And we, as with His Excellency and the any opportunities, if you need any laws, we would like to share with all of you and give you all the answers that Your Excellency, I can be on the line, I think, for another 50 minutes. Okay, so I would like to answer if anybody want to ask, or I would like also to hear what's going on. So I'll be still on the webinar for another 15 minutes. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. Thank you very much for your thoughts and how companies should do. I think it's really important to go and visit Egypt, and the one of the best thing that in June, in the end of June, there will be EU-Egypt investment conference, and it's that you already mentioned during also Mr. Andris Razan's presentation. That means that there is one nice opportunity, just go and visit Egypt, and that's why are you planning to be also during this conference? I hope yes, because
yes. We as a federation are already there in the conference. Me and my colleagues in several sessions were participating even as speakers in this conference, because there's going to be several
and then that's nice. And that's why I hope that Latin companies will
projects that
it's some internet problems.
It's going to be in the conference. Yes.
I think it's a good opportunity just to go to Egypt and to speak with companies directly, and as you mentioned, to use B2B meetings and sessions. Thank you very much once again. As you can see, you are a busy person, and thank you that dedicate your time to give your speech. The next speaker, His Excellency Ahmed Adel Sobhi, Ambassador of the Arab Republic of Egypt to the Kingdom of Sweden and non-resident to the Republic of Latvia. He began his role on January 11, 2022. And he has also visited our chamber last year in September. We had really nice conversation, and I want to say thank you because Mr. Ahmed seed the ideas of promoting Egypt and seed of ideas to organize such events for companies. Thank you very much for your initiative, and it's really nice to see when we have really active ambassadors from Egypt to Latvia. You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Latif. And thank you, Ambassador Andres, for the presentation. Thank you for your cooperation. And thank you both for really this initiative, because I think it's one of the first concrete steps to start building a platform, a regular connection, so we can promote business between the two countries. I'll try to touch on few points from what I've experienced during the last 2 years trying to promote business between Latvia and Egypt. Where do we compete? Where do we complement each other, and how can we promote that further? Engineer El Swedi has explained about the business. My dear Andres is there, and Mr. Delaney will talk more about the business environment in Egypt. So I will just go very quickly over the advantages both in Egypt and Latvia, and how can we work together from there? As the previous speaker said, that Egypt is a huge market. It's more than 100 million people. 65% of the population is in the working age group. The we have a lot of educated people that can speak several languages in the same time zone like Latvia. Plus, we have a much larger working force. We have a larger area, and we are a gate to both Middle East, Africa, and Southern Europe. Even just for practical terms, we are really lucky that we have a very active ambassador, a very active embassy that will really can help, and it's the only one in Africa that can really help the business. It's a very strong point and a very important point. The other aspect now, Latvia, although it's not big in size, the population is not huge, the market is small for Egyptian business, but for those in Egypt who did not visit Latvia, you missed a lot. Latvia in the last few years has exponentially improved in new technologies, innovation, education, and in so different fields. I was lucky to attend with the chamber as well the Africa Forum last couple of days, and it's amazing how you find innovation in technologies from robotics, very intricate electronic wares, to photonics, to animal feed. Now, where do we compete? We compete because both of us are trying to get investors, and both of us want to promote our exports. Egypt has done a lot regarding infrastructure, economic reform, and so you have the right environment. But still, Egypt is not the easiest country to do business with, to be frank. But for like Engineer Swedi said before, there is no business that has been established in Egypt that did not make profit more than anywhere else. So if you can find the niche to start and start in Egypt, it's a great opportunity for the Latvian business. As I said, but also Latvia for Egypt, it's not only the Latvian market, it's a gateway to Europe. So one of the few things I think we can do is that if you can establish joint venture uh, businesses together, you can have the Latvian technology being manufactured in Egypt, or use some of the Egyptian products and then re-exported to Europe, let alone be exported to Africa and the Middle East. Latvian cannot compete with other countries, like, for example, because I'm both accredited to Sweden in very large investment projects, huge hydrogen plants. But definitely, there is, which is even more important than growing fastly in Egypt, is small and medium industries. I was just talking in the forum about a company that are producing animal feed for poultry, and they are in Africa. And I said, why don't you think you need to, if you can, very difficult to export it to Egypt, but they can have the factory in Egypt and then export it to the rest of Africa. Things like this. A company called Clean Tech, specialized in all what's regarding environment and recycling. And I think this will work excellent in Egypt. You can have a win-win situation. We have a lot of electromechanic projects in different fields, construction, medical, where really both can work, and you can use this as a platform to export Latvian products to Egypt. So there is a lot of win-win situation. We have the free zones in Egypt, and we have different field where we really a lot of incentive, including green technology, automotive industry. I know that some companies in Latvia produce some parts of and feed the automotive industry in Europe. And there is a lack, for example, in the wiring system after the Ukraine war, that some of these parts can be produced in Egypt and then sent to Latvia. A lot of the components that are produced or used in some of the telecommunication are imported in Egypt from very far away. Latvian can find a niche where they can really produce their not only just export their products, and even if they produce some of it in Egypt. Another example would be the photonics. I only start learning about photonics when I've been accredited to Latvia. I heard there is a cooperation in photonics between the two countries. So these are areas where really can work together. And from the forum, the thing that we have seen Latvia can contribute the most, and like Ambassador Andres said, was digitalization, fintech, outsourcing, and the ICT sector. And think we have a lot of plans trying to work in these fields. Just it was more of a really going through the different thing. One of the things I did not think of if is real estate. The market of real estate, of course, in Egypt is growing fastly, so it's another investment opportunity. But and joint ventures, when I talk about joint, it's not only investing in Egypt, but it can be using Latvian specific products in projects in Egypt. That can help. I don't want to keep talking about it. It was just to mention few flashing points so people can open just brainstorming for questions and answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And as we can see in the chat, we received first question. Finally, audience are ready to ask questions. What is the current situation with agribusiness in Egypt? This is first question. And second, does Egypt buy a lot of goods from Russia? And third question, are there any ban or quotas of purchases? It's all about agribusiness. Maybe do you have some information about current situation with agribusiness in Egypt?
I can start just giving a few ideas. First of all, when I first been accredited, I said, okay, one of the main things that we can do is export agricultural product to Latvia. And to my surprise, we're importing more agricultural products from Latvia than we're exporting. So it's from Russia, we used to, and both Russia and Ukraine, we used to import a lot of wheat and oil seeds. We are the biggest importer of wheat. 85% of our wheat used to come from both Russia and Ukraine. Corn was mainly imported from Ukraine. After the war, we started diversifying our resources, trying to get, and including from Latvia. We talked about it together a lot, that we want to connect people together so we can really see how we can import more wheat, more products from Latvia, and we also produce agriculture products and agriculture like fertilizers that can be imported by Latvia from Egypt. One of the things I want, because I have also a lot of questions from Egyptian companies that want to export to Latvia. I think it would, one of the main purposes we're doing such a webinar, is that to try to find a way, how can we have permanent link or platform where really people can connect. You have very able people like Mr. Rainey and also Mr. Swedi and the Federation that can really connect, but you need people to go to a platform to ask their question, see what are the opportunities, and then try to connect them practically toward their partners in Egypt. And one of the things I'll be trying to send it to the chamber, the information about the investment in Egypt, the free zones, so it's available. And any question we can also put about the laws, what can they do? One of the, I think I answered the question. There was one last question, not really understood. What was the last question?
I also can see that the embassy of Latvia is raising the hand. Probably
Sure,
they
please.
they want
Sorry.
to, maybe they have more data about this
Yes,
issue.
sure. Please.
You're welcome, Embassy of Latvia.
Yes, hello, good morning. I wanted to comment regarding the grain. Agricultural produce, of course, that's a big variety, but I assume he's speaking about grain. And Latvian grain has high protein content. Therefore, it is more expensive in the stock market. And this is why we have not managed to sell any of this kind of grain before in past. And we do not qualify for government tenders. So we qualify for private sales for bakeries and higher quality because of high content of protein. Otherwise, we are not aware of any quotas. So it's market price. So it is about market price.
Thank you, Eva, for the explanation. Yeah. Now I think these questions are really well answered, and thank you very much for your presentation and for your time. And I'm totally agree that as a chambers or as embassies, we are more like connectors. We could make such a bridges between interested parts, and that's why that's usually we are like this bridge between them. Yeah. Now I would like to introduce next speaker, Mr. Omar Elderini, and he is Latvian Chamber of Commerce and Industry representative in Egypt. We are really happy about this cooperation because we started our cooperation 10 years ago. I checked in 20 of May in 2014 was signed this agreement of representation, and I know that there was of course a good cooperation during that time, 10 years. Of course, some pandemic maybe not so closely we work together, but now again we are on contact, and I hope we will have more joint project in the future as well. Mr. Omar, you're welcome to share your knowledge about business culture in Egypt.
Thank you very much. The reason why I chose this topic, it's because out of the 10 years experience, I noticed where the gap we always had between Egypt and Latvian companies because of the different culture. So I decided to talk about the Egyptian culture to try and make it easy for the future for the Latvian companies to get acquainted with the Egyptians more, because Egypt really is maybe unique to Europe and especially to Latvia, because we're more oriented in doing business with people, and we like to do business with people that we trust. So building a trust and the know-how between each other is very important in doing business here. Respect, especially the way you talk or the way you address someone, especially on the higher level, if it's a CEO of a company or a person in charge in the government. For instance, we always would say an ambassador, Your Excellency, until the other side decides and tells you, why don't you call me in my name? But at first, always build up that respect. Another thing, the formality of, we do get to be formal at start. Started from the dress code to the way we address our telecommunications, punctuality in meetings, although sometimes some companies do tend to be late on their meeting times. Egyptians also like to negotiate. So get ready always that while you're offering your price, you could end up with a negotiation that can involve a lot of rounds in meetings and emails going forward until you end up to finalize a deal and to sign. But Egyptians really are skilled in their negotiations. But the bargaining, it's been in history for a long time. The personal connections leads to the trust. Trust is very, very important to be built between the two sides. That leads us also to a difference that I have noticed during the years. Egyptians would have their phone with their emails on or their iPad next to them 24/7. And they would answer right away for any inquiry or an inquiry going out. But this does not happen from the Latvian side. It's part of life, maybe. It can take me a week to get an answer for my email. And this is not very well received with Egyptians. We expect in business that I do get an answer in 24 hours. Except if that answer is not ready, you can always say, we are working on giving you a reply. But make the other side feel that you have read his email, you are working on it, and there is a two-way relation. Egyptians are also very generous and hospitable. They would meet you in a meeting, they would order you coffee or tea the first thing. Giving you a present a small present is always kind of what has been a tradition. So do not offend such a thing. With all that, I have to admit, we have excellent opportunities. And as the ambassadors have said, and as Mr. Swedy has said, which I can raise my hand to, I don't know any country in the world that a company can make profits like they do here. And this I have proven to me from every multinational company in Egypt. And these profits are not for the sake of a multinational, but it's part of the price you're paying for the bureaucracy that still exists in Egypt. Yes, we do have bureaucracy. Sometimes in the port, sometimes in paperwork. So part of that, that's why the government or the market leaves a high percentage of profitability to reward the investors or the people doing business. One last thing in the traditions is the respect for the customs, the culture. The culture values is very important to the Egyptians. I would also add up something else. Looking for a partner is so important in Egypt. We have very professional, high-class companies, and we do have the small companies that are just starting or are not up to this multinational standard or the international standard. But that's why I'd really advise how to look for your partner that you want to do business with. And here I tell you, please make use of the chamber, make use of our office, make use of the embassy, commercial sector. They would help you very, very much. I have received a lot of inquiries and I have sent answers to. We have done some business with some companies and we've negotiated a lot of different qualities of what is needed because, as was just said, Egypt as a government would be buying a very not high quality grade of the product, while the private sector is the one that would buy. I'll give you an example that I had attended in Latvia. I had a customer that was buying cheese, and we looked at the cheese of the high quality, and we were able to in order to cut down on the price, we negotiated that we would ship the cheese without the brand name. And this made a difference between 25 to 30%, because the private sector is selling the cheese either to hotels, to supermarkets in bulk, whereby the name does not appear to the end user. So it's things like that that you need to get the benefit of those that understand the market and can help you in doing your business. Finally, I will sum up a few points that were risen before, in that Egypt is going through a tremendous economic restructure about to be finished. The digital transfer that we're facing is a big opportunity for Latvian companies. Infrastructure in the roads, the bridges, the ports, all is to the highest standards that has just been finished, and we're still building airports and new ports. Green energy and hydro renewable energy is on top of the list of business, especially in the area of the Suez Canal economic zone. And the trade agreements. I don't think of any country that you can do business in Africa with that has the number of trade agreements that Egypt has. And that's why I can see Egypt acting as a hub for Latvian companies. And as the ambassador of Egypt said, a joint venture does not mean that you have to be an investment. A joint venture could be in jointly service. You can get into a joint with an Egyptian company that has its already channels in the Gulf countries, in the African countries. Jointly together, you can make use of these channels of the Egyptian company. I hope I have been in time with what is permitted and have given you a quick touch of how to do business in Egypt. And in my position as a representative of the LCCI, I am ready to receive at any time, any inquiries. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I could say that that's true, because when I'm communicated with like 40 representatives all around the globe, like LCCI representatives, and you are the one of the representatives who are replying immediately and or in 24 hours. That it's not only it shows that's what you are talking about, that's exactly that it is. And I have a question: what is better? Send an email, but in Latvia we are using different like Telegram, WhatsApp. Are such other platforms of communication popular in Egypt, or emails are based on like number one?
Email and WhatsApp are the most used, but I recommend on the start of business is to use email because it's more professional. Once you have built a relation, then you can go on WhatsApp, but don't start your inquiry with a WhatsApp.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Maybe some more questions from audience? Not yet, but of course I am appreciate if will be some questions. And as you know, I also will send you emails if after this webinar we will have. Yeah.
Anytime.
Yeah. Thank you. The next speaker will be Ieva Juste, the head of the economic section of the Embassy of Latvia in Egypt, and she played a significant role of ensuring the program will be beneficial. And Ieva, you are welcome.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Natalie, you got my slide? I sent you my slides and then...
Not because everybody could share their slides. Yeah, maybe you can put your presentation. And as we discussed before, you can speak or English or Latvian, how you prefer.
I would definitely continue English for everybody's sake. Okay, the misunderstanding about the slide. We'll just go ahead and save time. Everybody, the previous speakers, very interesting, and I would actually complete the conversation and consider that we are speaking about Latvian companies, which are mostly small size and medium companies. So many of those great opportunities is, I would say, not the reality. And they are basically, I would speak based on experience of Latvian companies here and other European companies which are smaller and have to enter Egyptian market by themselves. So I was hoping to show you a slide. I will send everybody the presentation afterwards. So over the 10 years, the reality of bilateral trade between Egypt and Latvia. Let's say looking back at 10 years, the bilateral trade actually has been decreasing. And during this conversation, we didn't discuss the Egyptian economy generally speaking, but the peak of Latvian export to Egypt was actually in 2018. And currently it has decreased in half since then. However, Egyptian export to Latvia has increased several times, 3-4 times, which is good for Egypt. It's balancing our trade. And there are certain reasons why the Latvian export has been decreasing, and that's what I would like to maybe draw attention to. Starting with the basic market research and companies which, let's say, would like to consider Egypt as a market, it is not as easy as considering the European market, because information, public information, is not available as, let's say, in Latvia. And often if it's available, it's not updated or it's not in English. So there are different sources where you can, as a smaller company, find the proper information without paying for market research or paying for a consultant. So I would always recommend to use chambers in Egypt, especially American Chamber. I think they definitely excel in providing information. Also, Dutch Embassy in Cairo is provide free resources. Also, European entrepreneurship enterprise network. Actually, every Latvian can contact LIA office and the database online, and you could actually look for very specific information, what's needed to export your products to Egypt. All basically you need to define the code. So these are very basic. I would say start with that and read definitely some Egyptian media. In Egypt, there's excellent business news media. It's called Enterprise. You can prescribe and search. They have excellent reviews about the industries, and it is for free. So catching up what's happening in Egypt, they're excellent. Talking about Egypt and Latvian business, Egypt and European Union has signed association agreement, so there is free trade, almost free trade. However, there are non-tariff barriers, which are, let's say, especially for certain products, make export also harder. And one of them is registration. There is a decree 2016/43, which requires most exports with value added to register in special database. And that for Latvian companies would mean these are the products with value added. For example, exporting oat or grain to Egypt, this is a basic food, so it's not required, but anything with value added, let's say if you bake cookies from the oats, you would have to register the product. And that's a lengthy procedure, a little bit costly, and this is one of the barriers. And that's maybe one of the reasons over the past years, Egyptian supermarkets, let's say we talk about simply just food products, the competition from foreign products, it's narrow. So that would be one. And then there are all kinds of licenses required depending on the industry, of course. For example, cosmetic industry, which is developed in Latvia, they would have procedures. If those are food producers, animal origin food and dairy products very soon also are joining, they would be required to submit halal certificate. Pharmaceutical companies have their own, of course, registration. If it's active ingredient for pharma, that's one thing, but as soon as it's a product, a brand name, that's quite lengthy. So all that is, as usually, industry specific. And definitely one of the very, very known things we talk about in Egypt is during the past year, payment delays. And payment delays are there. Egyptian economy was going through a very hard time. And of course, one of the reasons is that import always has been dominant, and comparing to Egyptian GDP, export is relatively small. So source of currency is always an issue. So over the years, actually most of our exporters have been complaining about it, and we know that now there's a new page, and we hear and believe Egypt is going to have next great page. But we always draw attention that for small businesses which do not have big financial backing, this is a risk again. Then also would have to consider unpredictable costs, which again would come from unknown time, lengthy time when licenses or other procedures are reviewed, or problems in customs which can occur, or extra documentation. And also, this is why, as Mr. Darini said, that good partner is really, really the key. And we as embassy always advise, this is a country where you partner, because he will take care of the documentation. He would know how to put your products in the right shelves. And if it's services, they would know how to talk to the right people. So this is not a market where you can find your way without a trustable Egyptian partner. So, and that brings us maybe to what also was previously mentioned, that you must come to Egypt. Egypt is a big market with great opportunities. And I would say Egyptians are very hospitable to foreigners. And I feel in Egypt, it's my home. And I think it is a great country to consider business. With care, of course. Again, I'm talking mostly from SMEs point, because multinationals, it's very different situation. Their risk assessment is different. They can, considering the profit margin, which is absolutely true, they're high in certain industries, they can wait for a year. But SMEs is a difference. So these are issues to consider. About the cultural barriers, absolutely. I would like to just emphasize that Egyptians are very warm people, warm and generous, and they like to talk. And trust, obviously, is the issue, but you can't build trust over webinar, over email. Would have the biggest opportunities. First of all, I would never limit any field, because in business, it just, there's luck, and there are people who are great risk takers. Anything, there are niches in everywhere. So I wouldn't like to limit anybody. But generally speaking, Egyptian market is very price sensitive. Therefore, the bulk would always be big volume, low price. And this usually is not Latvian industries. We have generally smaller portions, we have higher quality. So our products are very much for niche markets, which are many. So that is to consider. And again, higher value added products really need a good partner, because each niche is very different. For the competition, I would like to draw attention that Egypt, because Egypt is such an attractive market, the competition is really, really high in Egypt. all the global multinationals already here. They have their local offices with local people who know everything and want to keep their market share. So you would be coming to the market, which is not necessarily waiting for you. So that's very important to know. Including that, as it was mentioned, Egypt is open to all businesses. There are also Chinese products, of course, which are cheaper, especially in technology. But the good thing is that we know there are Latvian higher quality products, of course, already here, and they're gradually growing. I also wanted to mention the specific fields where I think over the years we have noticed there are really great potential, and one of them is Latvian companies being subcontractors to bigger projects. We cannot really handle metro project, which is let's say 50 kilometers of great technology solutions, which is for mobility, for mobilization, payments, fintech, so hydrogen innovations, science. So this means we are great in subcontract, but to be a subcontractor who finds you, who believes in you, Egyptian partner. Technology, of course, fintech is booming right now in Egypt, and they have their own great minds. And it's just that Latvia took off in fintechs maybe 10 years ahead, but that is really also booming in Egypt currently. And Egypt is definitely opener for the Middle East. Often, I think in Latvia, we are more attracted of Dubai market or Saudi Arabia because they're shinier. But in fact, the Egyptian great minds are the ones who are working there and headhunted by Gulf companies to provide them the solutions. So that's why think of Egypt also exit not only to Africa, but also Middle East. Real estate is definitely one of the industries booming in Egypt, and many let's say high-end customers would like to have the best solutions, the best services, and there's also potential. So again, this is again niche where you need local partner. And maybe to complete the conversation, I would like to draw attention that we have to grow the trade both directions. And currently, there's no direct cargo flights between Latvia and Egypt. That immediately leaves out many products we cannot move both ways. Traveling, we can accept, we have to transit somewhere, but logistics increases the cost of the product. Of course, if ship going one direction, ship cannot go back empty. So these are also sometimes maybe issues where chambers or embassies, we can sometimes get involved because things like that have to be organized together to make sure that the ships flow and full both directions. So very briefly, I guess, just to mention trade, since my slide is not there, Latvian main export products to Egypt. So let's say I'm looking at the trade of 2023, full data, then majority of our export, 54% was agri products. Specifically, actually, it's broad beans or fava beans, full as it is called here. And then the second largest group is timber. And that forms almost 90% of our export to Egypt, which is products with the low added value. As embassy, of course, we strive to increase the export of high value added products, which is 10, which actually in our case leaves maybe 10%, where that's where Latvian food, some food items, our technology, electronics, some also pharmaceutical ingredients, we know optical lab equipment. So we would like to grow this 9%. When we look at the Egyptian export to Egypt, then well, it is growing. It's growing very fast. And in a way, we are happy that Egypt have found us on the map. That's also very important. And that's mostly fruits and vegetables. Actually, in past, 90% of Egyptian export to Egypt was fresh fruits and vegetables. During the past years, it has diversified, actually, that fresh fruits and vegetables is maybe only 35%. And then there are vegetables, there are also frozen fruits and vegetables. There's salt, actually, we use for winter to take care of our roads. And there's also some electric appliances making way to our market. So, and very, very last, when we consider other business than export, then definitely joint ventures is, I think, very, very beneficial issue to consider, because producing in Egypt for Latvian companies, especially if ingredients are here, is absolutely something to consider, even if they're medium-sized companies. Because and that's why, of course, coming to Egyptian European Business Conference, Investment Conference in June is an excellent opportunity. I can't actually think of a better opportunity to explore Egyptian market and look for partners than visiting this. So I hope the chamber would do their best to promote it, and we've also tried to promote it, and there's still possibility to join.
Thank you, Eva. Yeah, we already sent by email to our members agenda of the EU-Egypt Investment Conference, and also we have Telegram channel. We also share information there. Thank you, Martin Indans, for sending us a question, and you can choose His Excellency Ambassador or Eva could reply on it. What are the level of English language knowledge in Egypt among entrepreneurs? Who wants to answer?
Okay, I will answer. I think my experience, it's been 9 months since my arrival. I think it's a question regarding English language level proficiency. I think it's very high. Certainly, in Egypt you have more than 800 million inhabitants. Certainly not everyone speaks English. But then the layer of those who do speak and with extremely good level of proficiency is as well high. So I think it's not a problem at all. At least from my experience, I cannot really complain about that. There are international schools here, there are English schools, there are German schools, French schools, Italian, there are plenty of them, and there are youngsters and students that actually are studying in these languages, and I'm speaking about millions and millions. So that's my experience.
Thank you very much.
I can just add that I've met business people who speak no word of English and trading excellently. But I wanted to say that I've met Egyptian business people who have very limited foreign language skills, and they are still excellent in trade.
And it's the same applies to Latvia as well. Sometimes you find Latvians or Latvian business people not speaking English, so it's. I think but it doesn't apply to Egypt in many ways. If you find a good partner, certainly he or she will be very fluent in language.
Thank you. One more presentation in our webinar, and that's why I want to introduce next speaker, Ms. Linda Litenia, the head of external affairs of Online Farms. Linda also, she's a member of Export Council in our chamber and attending many meetings. And thank you, Linda, that you will share your story, how you cooperate with Egyptians and how you're doing business in Egypt. You're welcome, Linda.
Okay, thank you very much for possibility to share online farm experience. Of course, I will start with a short presentation about company a little bit, and later we continue with our experience in Egypt. We have started business in Egypt relatively recently, and I will try to share my presentation. I hope you can see. Okay, could you see? Okay, and we have of course started recently, and we have planned to grow and develop cooperation with reliable partners in the future and to develop our business. A little bit about a company. Online Pharma is a part of LCCI Group. LCCI is a Baltic leader in the private healthcare sector. The group companies collectively present the second most valuable private asset company in Latvia. About Online Pharma. In Online Pharma Group is 4 companies. Online Pharma is the main one with the pharmaceutical and chemical producers. So we have also food supplement and medical device producer Silvanols, also plant-based medicine pure producers, and medical compression product Tonsilast. I think I skip our goals or missions, but of course, as in center of our mission is a patient and in all stage, and to be and support our patients in all stages of healthcare. Some facts about Online Pharma or turnover in last year is 130 million euro. Our production capacity is high, but we can invest also in our production site to produce more and more. We invest a lot in new product development as well, new market development, and we also is professional, more than 1,000 professional employees in the Online Pharma Group. If we go also very quickly regarding our main groups, therapeutic groups where we operate is our main groups is nervous system, antibacterial agents, cardiology, anti-allergic medicine, and also new groups, which is for our point of view is very important for all of us is anti-diabetic urology and oncology medicine. Here is very schematic to show our development plans, which approved in last year. It means that we can grow very fast in this field, and we are ready to provide our medicine worldwide. Of course, we have very long experience in export markets, and we export around 90% of all our production to more than 60 countries, and we are mostly export company in our field. As I mentioned some time before starting the presentation, we have prioritized our new export regions. There we can grow, and of course, Egypt is one of this country for growing. It's part also to possibility to go in a new Middle East and African countries as well. I will a little bit to take about pharmaceutical market in Egypt and the region, and why I start with this slide, because I would like to explain why we start with our API business in Egypt, and maybe later to follow another one. As you see, the Egypt, according to expert prognosis, is growing in a period till 2026, and growing very fast, and mainly driving by price growth. Here is one thing is a high inflation pressure. Of course, it's maybe not so good, but also what is thing which I would like to pay attention, it's regulatory improvements, and also a lot of comprehensive health insurance schemes, which I think that in the future to do this business part very interesting for players in this field. This slide is mostly to show all pharmaceutical value chain, but I will show you not to learn about this one, but to pay attention that all business is starting with APIs, and this is one part, and we are also as API producers, and this is a between value chain. And of course, our future plans is also to continue with final dosage form or packaging. But from this one is also with need very good partners in Egypt to cooperation. If we go about business experience, as I say, it's not very huge. We start in Egypt with API business, and we start cooperation since 2017. And the company first connected with existing customers during industry exhibitions, and for example, for pharmaceutical business is very important CPHI exhibition, which take part every year, and. Of course, first thing what need to do to starting this business is a market approval process, and here for pharmaceutical things we take it in account some parts as API approval. According to regulatory requirements, additional one we need to take in account also Egypt climatic conditions, which is also very important. I think that not only for pharmaceutical products but also from other one. Second thing is logistic and transportation. The logistic of transportation of APIs to Egypt are handled by air, which is relatively quick process. However, the primary challenge lies in the lengthy of custom clearance process, which can significantly delay the delivery of products to customers. Next part is competitive landscape. What could I say of course, API market in Egypt is highly competitive due to the fact that Egyptian pharmaceutical business is a lot of local players. In value is more than 46%. In a volume is a higher 64. It means that API business is also very high developed, and the main competition, of course, is coming from India and Chinese companies. And here, sometimes it's not so easy to be cheapest one, and here for our main pay attention is to our product quality, and we present as European quality company. Next challenge is financial transactions. Embassy of Latvian is also mentions these things. For us, it also is a problem. And this main challenges is connected to related to bank payments. Normal business operations are often disrupted due to the necessity of obtaining special permissions from state authorities to convert Egyptian currency to euros or dollars. And for our experience, we are wait sometimes more than a year for such permissions. Strategy advice, of course, to mitigate financial risk, online firm advice requiring 100% payment in advance for each transaction, and it's right now is a real situation, and this is the main topics that today I would like to share with you. And of course, I have a summary of challenges and recommendations for our point of view, but of course, as I mentioned before, is challenges: regulatory approvals, custom clearance, financial transactions, and market competitions, and recommendations. I also to mention it in my previous slides. It's right now is advance payment, regulatory vigilance, quality assurance, and customer engagements. And customer engagements is very important part to operate in Egypt, and I truly agree with all previous speakers which recommend to cooperation, for example, as joint adventures as well. It's very help to all entrepreneurs to go in to Egypt market. That's all what I would like to say today for all participants. Thank you for attention.
Thank you, Linda, for the sharing this information. I think it's really important to hear your recommendations, and also that's good that you mentioned also challenges or what could be when you start to do business in Egypt. I wish Online Farm all the best in Egypt and all other markets. You show that you are priority one. And of course, I could say it's really important because Online Farm, it's a member of LCCI, and as LCCI, it's a member-based a non-governmental organization. It's really important that companies should and could share their knowledge about export, what they're already doing, because as you know, our goal to promote export, expanding and export statistics in Latvia, and because you already mentioned China, India, we have many competitiveness competitors, and that's why in Latvian business I think companies should collaborate, and LCCI is good platform where to be a member, where to receive such a knowledge. And if now we are in the end of our webinar, and I could mention we are doing not only export promoting, because our three main areas of activity is it's improving the business environment through advocacy, lobbying, and collaboration with governmental institutions in Latvia. Second, our action of area of action, it's rising to the competitiveness of the companies by organizing such a different events, and the number it's 260 events per year we are organizing for companies. It's a networking event, it's export events, and many others. And third action, it's export promoting. And I think such webinars, export webinars, it's a really good start that companies could have more knowledge about different countries, and they now know basic contacts, which one they could call, could write, and just to start conversation about doing business in Egypt. I want to express my sincere gratitude to our partners, Embassy of Latvia to Egypt, because as our partners we organized this webinar together. Also thank you each and every one of you for your participation and engagement. Thank you for the questions. Big thanks to my colleague for technical support by recording this webinar. And I wish have a good day today, and see you in other our events.